We are back with David Letterman. The man who runs the camera into which you look now, Dave Dorsett, and I worked at WLWA, your sister station at WLWI, Crossley in Indianapolis. What was the career potential at WLWI?
Well, I started at WLWI. That was one of my problems.
Well, mine too. Thank God they changed the call letters to something else.
It was WLWI, Indianapolis, WLWD, I believe, Dayton,
That's
WLWC,
right.
Columbus, and the whole thing originates live from Channel 5, Cincinnati,
WLW.
Ohio. WLW, of course, I had a great fondness for that because it was a flagship. It was the flagship of the Crossley and then later AVCO network. But WLW, the radio station, I think you know the details of this better than I. At one time, with a special experimental permit from the government, was allowed to broadcast at something like 500,000 watts.
I believe that's right.
And that's how it got to be known as the nation's station. And literally, that radio station in Cincinnati, Ohio, covered North America and maybe then some. And it was, in those days, like in many other large communities, a real center of broadcast activity. They did a lot of original broadcasting, both on radio and television, and certainly more than goes on these days. So for me, it was a real exciting connection. Crossley was okay. When AVCO got to it, they were making flexible straws for the space program, and they spent more time worrying about that than they did broadcasting. And
but what about the confinement? In those days, as I recall, if you were an on-air talent at a local television station, you had three choices: news reader, sports reader, or weather reporter. You know, there were not talk shows. There was a movie hosting job occasionally, but you didn't get a chance to do the kinds of things that you and I like to do, which is chat with people or perform on television.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say I enjoy chatting with people, Tom. But when I got the job, it was... and again, it was a great stroke of luck. I was in college. It was the summer between my sophomore and junior year. And the previous summer, I had worked at a place, WTRE, in Greensburg, Indiana, your Tree City station, because Greensburg, at the time, and may still have, in the courthouse, they had like an oak tree growing out of the roof of the courthouse. And they're WTRE, your Tree City station.
Tree City station, yeah.
And then the following year, between my sophomore and junior year in college, a friend of mine by the name of Jerry Norris, a really nice kid and a guy that I was close with all through high school and college, his brother Dick Norris worked at this television station. We used to go down there and hang around, and he would show us the facility and so forth. And as kind of I think a lark, he set up an audition for me at the television station to audition for the part. You know, it was a summer replacement, vacation announcer. You would sit in the announce booth. You would do the weather. You would do everything that they used to use live talent for. Not that I'm flattering myself with that term. And miracle of miracles, I got this summertime job, and then so suddenly I had virtually almost gone from sacking groceries at the Atlas Market to being on television. And for me, it was a dream come true. And everything that you mentioned was afforded me. I had a chance to. I read some news. I was part of the little kid show. I got to do some weather, and it was just horrible at it, you know. But it was great experience. I mean, it was, as you know, once you've learned the 2 or 3 lessons you need to learn in broadcasting, doesn't make any difference whether it's Muncie, whether it's Milwaukee, whether it's Atlanta, Indianapolis,
or the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Yeah, once you have those, you know, that's all you need to know the rest of your life if you're going to stay in broadcasting. And it was a grand time for me. It was just, I don't know, I've had nothing but really fun jobs, and that was, I guess, maybe the first real solid taste of broadcasting, and I loved every minute of it.
How much fun is the job you have now?
When it goes well, it's great. It's endless fun. As you know, the exhilaration you get from participating in kind of overseeing a job well done by the 40 or 50 people that put together the endless details of a nightly show. When that goes well, regardless of your participation or whatever you've done not to screw it up, when that goes well, it's like anybody's job. A mason, when he puts up a lovely piece of brickwork, there's nothing more satisfying, nothing more exhilarating, and it's the best fun you can have.
Are you happy more often than you're not happy with the piece of work you've done each? Are you happy with tonight's piece of work?
Yeah, more or less. We had some problems tonight, and I didn't help things. But it turned out to be a pretty good show, again, largely through the efforts of others. Billy Crystal was our first guest, and he was very, very funny. And Marv Albert was on, and I get a big kick out of Marv. I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, but Marv should give the scores and let you do the jokes.
Well, now, let's not be harsh with Marv. But so, yeah, so I think that despite my ineptness tonight and despite some other problems that are going to happen every few months or so, yeah, I think it turned out all right.
Why do you keep referring to yourself as inept? Why do you keep saying it's all my fault?
Well,
the night that I was with you last April, when you leaned over and you said to me, gesturing to the studio audience, "These people all hate me." Is that just a front, or do you really believe? You can't believe that, for heaven's sake. When you walk out of that theater every night and they applaud you, you know they don't hate you. Why do you say that?
Tom, I hate to correct you, but I believe what I said to you when I whispered in your ear was,
I know
these people hate you. You know, there's, I don't know. I've thought about this for a long time, and the best analogy I can come up with here, it's like running a small restaurant. And you come to the restaurant and work in the kitchen all day long, preparing the best food possible. And some nights the people are going to enjoy it, some nights they're not going to enjoy it. And I feel the ultimate, consummate sense of responsibility that everything that goes wrong, the blame for everything should and will be and can be placed in my lap. I'm not doing this for free. And I feel like if I don't justify in my own mind each and every night the very best effort to take the hard work of the men and women who work on this show each day and make it into something as good as the ingredients or a little bit better, you know, then I ought to be given the check back. You know, I'm speaking metaphorically, of course, because there's not a chance in hell I'll be given the checks back.
You Dan Rather and all. I mean,
yeah.